Welcome to 5 Minutes of X, where red skulled rogues, dastardly demons, and a destructive dragon all share the spotlight with one guy who's never found the brakes. All right, 3 issues to cover for the month of April 1967. Tales of Suspense was released on April 4th. It was written by our editor-in-chief, Stan the Man Lee, and drawn by Gil Sugar Lips Kane. I did not choose that. That was chosen for me. Another new artist for this channel. Then on April 11th, we get the X-Men number 33 and the Avengers number 41. Both were written by Roy Thomas, with the Avengers book drawn by John Buscema, yet another new artist for us. And the X book was drawn by, well-known to us, Werner Roth. He did a great job. In Tales of Suspense, we see what's going on with Cap while he's off on his own mission and not in the Avengers book. It's a Red Skull story, and it's a fairly good one. The cameo here with Wanda and Pietro is regarding their knowledge of a nuclear sub's location. It's a single panel, and Gil apparently loves drawing big heads. Red Skull always has an oversized noggin, but here we see some general spilling the sub's secrets while everyone in the room tries to ignore that 5-head. Wow, that is a big forehead. All right, let's talk about the Avengers. We open with Wanda just thinking to us that she's good to go now. No explanation for her illness or what happened with that rebounded hex from 2 issues ago. Pietro must break up Hercules and Hawkeye. Now that Hawkeye doesn't have Cap anymore, or maybe just because Cap isn't in the room, he started trying to bully a god. Wanda seems impressed by the Herc, though. I am too. Check out these shoulders. Wow. We find out that, as expected, Black Widow is not a traitor, but is now captured. I'm sure we'll revisit that soon, but the story for this issue centers around a villain called the Dragon Man. I would make some snarky remark about running out of character names in 1967, but I'm guessing this thing will never show up after this 2-parter, so I'll just pass on it this time. This thing was created by a dude named Diablo. This guy is dressed like a pimp, and he has a gun that turns stuff gold.
I love gold!
So Goliath wakes up this sleeping dragon man thing while Diablo breaks his pet out by turning the lab building into gold. Then the action starts. It's mostly Goliath. Herc sits this one out. Wanda's hexes do a good job of stopping Diablo until he turns the ceiling gold and it caves in. Kind of a cool use of that power, since gold's kind of a weaker metal. The Avengers are saved by some quick thinking by Quicksilver. We get the second part of our Juggernaut story in X-Men number 33. When we left off, the X-Men in the last issue, we had a comatose Charles and a flooded basement. This issue opens with Juggernaut traipsing through the woods toward a military base. His goal is to get a plane and then fly to Factor 3, I think in Europe. He attacks the base and has no trouble breaking through their defenses, of course. We cut to the X-Men checking on Professor X. He's out, but the nerd helmet on Jean tells us that he will live. We also get a glimpse into Charles's mind, where we see a young mystic on a quest for a demon named Zorak. Quick side note, this guy is also called the Ancient One, a dude who has actually lived for like 600 years. He'll go on to possess the amulet of Amagato and become the first Sorcerer Supreme. MCU fans will recognize the amulet and that position of Sorcerer Supreme from the Doctor Strange films. Doctor Strange in those movies currently possesses the amulet, and he was or may still be again the Sorcerer Supreme. Depends on when you're watching this episode. Benedict Cumberbatch. I just like saying Benedict Cumberbatch. All right, so we see the Ancient One find the evil Zorak, and after a brief battle, Zorak is banished into the Sidorak Stone, thereby cursing it. It'll sit there until the Korean War, when Charles Xavier's stepbrother, Cain Marco, finds it and turns into the Juggernaut. But you remember that all that, right? We just did it like 2 months ago. The X-Men return to Cerebro and try to get it back into working order to use its computer to call out for the Ancient One. And the astral projection of Doctor Strange appears. We consult with him and come to the conclusion that the team needs to split up. Iceman, Beast, and Angel need to go slow down the Juggernaut, while Marvel Girl and Cyclops will be transported to the Temple of Sidorak. They will need to enter the Cursed Stone and conquer it and bring it back. It's not clear what we'll do with it after that, but they only have 1 hour or they'll be stuck in there forever. So as Doctor Strange's apparition dissolves, he beams Marvel Girl and Cyclops to North Korea. They find the temple, say this incantation, and are sucked into the stone. Inside, we encounter Zorak, and we bump back to the Juggernaut story. The X-Men use the X-Copter to try and stop Juggy, and when that doesn't work, they head into a wind tunnel on the base. While all this is happening, Marvel Girl and Scott learn that time is the enemy of Zorak, and they use Jean's wristwatch to defeat him. They beam back with the stone and rush to the military base. Juggernaut takes the stone thinking it will add to his power, but in reality, he's sucked into the Crimson Cosmos. Cyclops says this as a fact, even though it's the first time the words Crimson Cosmos has ever been said aloud. So we really don't know where Juggernaut has gone. So the X-Men return to the X-Mansion to find that the professor has been taken. It happened in a lone panel a few pages ago. Here, I'll show it now. Factor 3 took him. I just didn't mention it at the time. The Avengers issue has a little story and tons of punching. It's fine and all, but there's no meat to consume here. We also miss another potential story arc about what happens if Wanda gets a hex rebounded. It would be really cool to see her learn the consequence of having that happen and grow her magic to counteract rebounding spells. She can totally do that nowadays, so this would have been a good time to learn it, I guess, but whatever. The X-Men issue with Juggernaut is a certified banger. For the second time, we have had a 2-episode Juggernaut arc where we tell a lot of backstory in a way that keeps me turning the pages with tons and tons of interest. The art pops, the characters really shine, and when Scott picks Jean to go into the crystal, we get to see them working with each other for like 5 whole pages. It's totally happening. There's also one other thing I want to point out here. Jean is becoming her own person, and I love it. This is way ahead of other media in 1967 in terms of women being their own keeper and owning their own story. She loves Scott in a way that's still immaturely written, but she's doing well at the college while having her own friends and knowing what to do in dangerous situations. She functions with competence. Jean's story is just awesome, and I just can't wait to get deeper and deeper into her story. Well, you survived another long-ass session in the Danger Room. For more character info, reading lists, and what other nerdy projects I'm tangled up in, head on over to Jordy.com. New episodes drop Wednesdays at noon and Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern. Remember, Jean Grey did the work. She kept her cool and made the rest of the team look like extras on the Enterprise, all before finals week, too.